What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Real Talk with Darius. Thank y'all for joining me, and I do apologize for being away for as long as I have been. It feels like forever ago now, but I don't intend to be away. I've just been quite busy, but I'm definitely making sure I get back to this because many of you have expressed how you enjoyed the channel and everything, and so I want to thank you for those of you who are still with me, and for those of you who passing through. And if this is not for you, it's not for you. But thank you for your time. Now remember to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share this channel, set your notifications. We're going to be talking about what's going on with Obama, the revelations that Tulsi Gabbard released concerning Obama and Hillary and all those folks. So let's get into this.
So let's start it again at the beginning, because you're not hearing this from anybody in the mainstream. Barack Obama is president 2016. Hillary Clinton is expected to be the winner. She then starts, because it starts to get dicey, she's looking for anything she can do to smear Donald Trump. She then starts to put together the Crossfire Hurricane file. The Crossfire Hurricane file is completely discredited. I mean, there's nothing in it that is real. You know, it shows that Donald Trump was with hookers in Russia, that he and Russia have a bank account that are, pinging each other all the time. Remember all of this? Okay. That all came from Hillary Clinton through Crossfire Hurricane, Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS puts together the Steele dossier. When she loses, she goes to the White House, and Clapper, who is part of all of this stuff with Hillary Clinton, goes to the White House, and Barack Obama does not want Donald Trump in. He's got to find a way to stop Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton is saying Russia stole the election. Remember? We never say they stole the election. Yeah, you did. All about Donald Trump. He's not a legitimate president. He stole it in collusion with Russia. So Barack Obama is about to get a report, an assessment from the intelligence community. It's called an ICA, Intelligence Community Assessment. And it was about to say there's no collusion with Russia, that Russia was not capable of hacking into anything or doing anything to throw our election. All right. He stops that before it's printed. He's alerted that it's coming in print form. He says, stop, meet me in my office tomorrow. Bring all the players in. I want to have a talk with you. He has a talk with them. I need this to read this way: that Russia did influence the election. Then, after he gets that from he gets a new ICA saying that, yes, they did. Now he can go to the FBI and say, they did. Here's this Crossfire Hurricane. Here's this Fusion GPS. I need you to look at this from Christopher Steele. Christopher Steele is known by the FBI. They fired this guy. He was somebody who was a source, but he had so discredited himself, he was no longer on the payroll of the FBI. He had been discredited by the FBI. But for some reason, they overlooked that. To make sure that this went through, Clapper releases the Fusion GPS documents to the press. And now it's in the press. Now everybody's talking about it.
What Glenn Beck is doing, which he used to work for Fox News years ago, what he's doing is laying out the playlist as to what happened, what transpired when the evil ones, I call them, set up or tried to set up President Trump in 2015, 2016, because Trump's an outsider. And I said this years ago about him. I believe Trump is an outlier. He was an anomaly. When he announced that he was going to run for president, what did they do? All of a sudden, this guy who was popular among rappers, other celebrities, sports figures, business people, just in the business industry, especially in the real estate industry. Then he also comes up with one of the number one, becomes a part of one of the number one rated television shows, business shows on television, period. But his show got tremendous ratings. I think they ran for like 15 years. It's called The Apprentice. I need to find those videos. I like that show. It's a lot of learning. To me, that show was like The Prophet and Shark Tank. Those are some good channels to learn business tips and principles from. Anyway, what Glenn is laying out is the play-by-play, the steps, step by step, what happened, the things that transpired in order to set up President Trump, which caused them, with the media's help, to be able to promote to the people or present to the people that this Donald Trump character, this reality TV show host, this what do you call this? Kind of like just call him a showman. Let's call him a showman. They tried to set him up to look like he was going to be very bad and very evil for America, when the truth of the matter is he was an enemy of their ideas and their agendas in favor of the American people. Let's get back to it.
Now we have to do an investigation on this. As he orders the FBI I want you to look into this. I just want you to look into this Fusion GPS thing, Christopher Steele dossier. That's when not Condoleezza, but Susan Rice writes on her last day, he didn't tell the FBI what to do. He was just making a suggestion that they just do what they should do and they would normally always do. Okay. All right. So there's the seed of all of this conspiracy. When Trump wins, panic sets in. So they've got to do something. All right. So that's what happens. But in the meantime, as they are burying all of this true information and leaking information to the press that brings everybody to Russia, there's another scandal that is happening. And this one is in Ukraine. This scandal is on a totally different front. This is at the same time all this stuff is happening. Hunter Biden is on the board of Burisma, corrupt gas company raking in millions of dollars with no experience. And the Ukrainian prosecutor is investigating that company.
See, I have some videos actually talking about what Glenn is pointing out. I came across these videos as I started doing a little bit of research outside of the mainstream media in order to see and understand what was transpiring before us, because I never imagined I was going to be seeing and hearing the things I saw playing out on national television. I knew the mainstream media lied to us. I know about the NWO agenda, generally speaking. And so what we was watching is there's a war going on between the good and evil, basically. Still is to this day, by the way. But again, what Glenn is laying out is the concerted effort of certain individuals, certain parties, and certain organizations, and certain societies who wanted to thwart the plans to free the American people. A lot of this is playing out. So what happened with Hunter Biden, for example, with Burisma? You can find that information. Go on Rumble. You can find some of these information. You can look up Oliver Stone. Oliver Stone did a couple of documentaries about what happened in Ukraine, for example. One of them is called Ukraine on Fire. The other is called Revealing Ukraine. Y'all should look up those documentaries on Rumble. I don't think they're playing on YouTube because they be taken down. I did see there's an investigator who also named former President J.B., Hunter's father, as a serious person of interest. I'll just say it that way. You can find information like that on Rumble. It's called the Biden tapes or something like that. OAN did a reporting on that. I'm telling you, there's a lot of interesting information, but you just have to know where to look. Have to know what you're looking for and where to look. So I would definitely say go to Rumble to find some of these videos out.
And Joe Biden comes back and he brags about getting him fired by threatening to withhold $1 billion U.S. aid package. Hillary Clinton's people are there. Soros is there. All the usual suspects are there. This is a State Department operation over in Ukraine. This is USAID. All of this stuff is happening over in Ukraine. Soon as Donald Trump calls to talk to the new Ukrainian president, and the Ukrainian president says, hey, we have some real problems with Russia. He says, fine, I'll send that to you. But I would really like your help in looking into all the corruption that was going on. Corruption that was perpetrated by whom? The same exact players that were in President Obama's office with all of this. They panic. We really have to stop Donald Trump. So they make up a story that he had said, I'm going to hold back your aid unless you produce this evidence. Pretty much, remember, they always do what they say we're doing. Pretty much exactly what Obama and his group had done in 2016. They're now accusing Trump of doing in Ukraine.
Exactly.
You follow? Does this make sense?
Yep.
He's asking them, can you tell me what happened? And he's now impeached over that. Now let that sink in. The same people who manufactured a Russia hoax now impeach a sitting president for trying to expose the people who were involved in that corruption. It's projection, it's insurance, and it's a cover-up that has to keep covering. But they weren't finished. Before the 2020 election, all of a sudden, a Hunter laptop appears. And what do they say? This is Russian disinformation. When it looks like somebody's going to print it, somebody's going to run with it, what do? The same exact people in the FBI and intelligence community go to the social media companies and say, this is a Russia hoax. And then how many former intelligence officers signed that letter? Who put that letter together? Clapper. Mm-hmm. The same guy that was in the original meeting where Susan Rice says nothing weird happened here. And Clapper puts that together and says this is all a hoax. So now they're covering again. All the emails, all the contracts, all the corruption, same cast of intelligence officials signed that public letter. This is all Russian disinformation. Another lie, another operation, and again, the press continues to listen to these people, like Clapper, who is now, I think, on a payroll of one of these companies, as a press commentator. Then what happens? Then you have President Biden winning. He wins. But then what happens? You've got to take Trump out. So you have January 6th. And yes, it was chaotic. Yes, people acted shamefully. Some of these were real anarchists. I don't know what their political belief was, but some of them were anarchists. But there's some questions about January 6th. Where is the pipe bomb? Where is the pipe bomber?
There are questions about a lot of these stories. I mean, I also on Rumble, you can actually go and check out the real story of January 6th, produced by Epoch Times. They did a great did some great research and some great reporting on that. There's some other videos, likely anyway, and I'd be surprised if you do, because I hadn't checked on on YouTube, but on Rumble for sure, you can find some of this information for yourselves. This to me reads like a crime novel, reads like a spy novel, all mixed in one. This is huge, but the average person, you have to take the time. You have to be interested and take the time to look into this type of stuff, because I believe a lot of revelations are in the process of coming out. They're already coming out, like this story, but more is on the way this year, 2025.
There were 2 pipe bombs. One of them almost killed the vice president. Why was she moved from the Capitol to the DNC headquarters where the pipe bomb was? Why did that happen? How did all of a sudden every single record from the Secret Service just disappear? All their phone records, all the records on why she was moved, all of that.
And excuse me, I got some lawn. There's a landscaper out there taking care of the yard, so excuse some of the noise if y'all happen to hear it on this video, okay?
Just gone, just disappeared. It happens, you know. Why couldn't we there was no camera on the pipe bomb, and who placed that pipe bomb? Why? The camera was aimed at the same place for at least 6 months, and then right before this happens, it's moved in another direction. Right after they find the pipe bomb, it's moved back into that direction.
Interesting.
Why?
That's the question.
Why did they never look for the scaffold man?
Why?
The guy who was up on the scaffolding directing the crowd what to do. We don't even know who that was. We don't know his name.
Check Rumble.
How about Ray Epps? How about the people from the FBI and intelligence community that said there were no FBI agents on the ground that day? There were no CIA or FBI operatives on the ground. Then it was, we don't know if there were any. And then once they lose this election, we find out there were 25 of them on the ground. Why? Why did the surveillance tapes that were held back suddenly contradict the sworn testimony of the hero cop? He wasn't even in the part of the building he said he was in. But nobody covered that. We did. Same cast of characters involved in that. A chance to do to Trump what they failed to do with Clinton and Obama, what they failed to do under Schiff and impeachment. Now they're trying to get him with January 6th, but that doesn't hold. So now what do? Now the same group of people, the same judges in many cases, they decide they're going to prosecute Donald Trump, and they're going to try to get him thrown into jail. Find him guilty of a crime, any crime, to protect democracy. It's going to stop Hitler. But listen to what these people have done. They lied to a FISA court. They doctored evidence and then testified at a FISA court, which violates your rights as an American citizen. They then falsified intelligence. They spied on a campaign illegally. They framed a sitting president, not once, not twice, counting still 3 times. They silenced the entire.
Let me add this for some people to digest. This happened to a rich white man. Okay? I hate the subject personally about the racism stuff. I know prejudice and racism is real. I've never denied that. I certainly won't deny that it still exists. But to the level and the extent that it did, I do deny that. There are a lot of black millionaires in this country, for example. There are a lot of Hispanic and Asian people, millionaires, doing very well. Even if you're not a millionaire, they're doing very well in this country. So yes, there are issues. People in this country have issues. As long as there are people on this side of eternity thinking and behaving the way they do, there's going to be issues in one way or another. But I want to point out, this is a rich white man who many people said, oh, he's privileged, who's been basically called a orange devil, who's fighting on behalf of all Americans of all different beliefs, backgrounds, ethnicities, different classes, fighting against a system that many people to this moment, to this very day, still do not believe or even probably aren't conscious exist. There are entities in both worlds, both realms, spirit world and in the natural world, who don't like you, don't care about you, don't care about your children, don't care about the legacy you want or the family you want to have or you do have. They don't care. They only care about power and control. And they will do anything necessary. We talk about a man. Oh, let me let him finish it. I'm going to finish my thoughts.
Their laptop story. They controlled the press. They opened our borders while lying about the effects and the causes. Remember, she was going on to a fact-finding mission to find out what was causing all these people. They knew what was causing them. It was their own NGOs that they were paying through government funds to bring all those people in. They never told you that. In fact, they lied about it. They told us Oh, putting people up in hotels, that's ridiculous. That's exactly what they did. Then they lied about their involvement in bringing them across the borders. They lied about the Medicare going to the illegals that we're just finding out now. The same people who told you MS-13 gangs and gangs from Venezuela were not happening or they were not dangerous. They were racist tropes. The same people that let terrorists and terror cells into our country and then sent the exact same people back to the press to tell us that our borders were secure. And then finally lied about the president's mental fitness. They used the auto pin to pardon all or some of those involved in all of this. Then when Biden was found and seen to be incompetent, he wasn't removed from office. He was just removed from election. No one asked any questions. The same people, Clapper, Rice, Brennan, Obama. And then Obama and the Klan decided to run Kamala Harris. They decided that, not the people. They decided to run him. To run her. And again, no questions were asked. The press even went from, she's the absolute worst, to 2 days later, she is the savior of our republic. And now these same people are claiming their Fifth Amendment rights when asked a simple question. When did you know? Did you know the president was incompetent? That's what this is about. This is about the biggest conspiracy. This is about the deep state. If you think the Epstein thing was big, you're never going to get the Epstein. You'll never get the truth of the Epstein until this is stopped. This is the entire narrative of the last 10 years and a cabal of maybe 10 to 20 people that have orchestrated all of it. That's why it's on page A15 and not even found on the Washington Post today. This is massive.
Yep, this is massive, more than most people can really realize. And what I was about to say, before I let Glenn finish his thoughts, is this. It's not just President Trump. I want to make that very clear. Even though I support Trump, I'm wholeheartedly behind him. I won't say I agree with every decision, no more than I agree with every decision any human makes. Okay, everybody doesn't agree with me, but there's a war that's been going on, and it looks much, much different. And I've said this in some other videos. There's a war that's going on that looks much different than what we are accustomed to. You know, we're not facing bombing situations and seeing missiles or hearing about or seeing missiles fly into our country like in Israel or in Syria or in Iran, places like that. But there's been a war going on for at least 60 years, I believe much longer than that. And it's been an information war. They know they can't come out against the masses of people all at once because it just would not benefit their agenda. And so they were creative. They have infiltrated our education system, infiltrated our homes, infiltrated our businesses, just basically infiltrated every area of our lives. And if we don't take a stand at some point, some people are going to be destroyed, period. I believe a lot of nefarious things have been happening for the past 6 decades at minimum. And now some things are coming to a head. And by the way, people want Trump to release all information right now and expose the deep state, drain the swamp immediately when it has taken at least 60 years to get to this point. And people forget that. People want to see other people make changes in certain situations that they cannot totally control, while at the same time in their own personal lives on a much smaller scale, they have a hard time making the right decision on what they're going to wear. Some people don't even know what they're going to eat tonight. And yet they want to hold somebody else to a higher standard to do something that they're incapable of doing. In totality, President Trump and his team can address these issues, and they are making a lot of changes. Your pastor can only pray for you. Your guru or coach can only guide and instruct you, but you must make the decision to do what's right for you and or your family. So let's understand something. There are revelations that are coming out that some people still aren't ready to receive, and some people still won't believe. That choice is up to you. The goal here is to expose the corruption change as much as possible, impact and bring about the changes necessary for this country to be much better off. And I do believe we're definitely on the road to that. So pray for this country. Pray for President Trump, whether you like him or not, because Democrats, liberals, some of you Republicans who don't like Trump, but you like a lot of his policies, that's your business. Those are your choices, but pray for him because he's fighting for you, whether you know it or not, and whether you like him or not. He is not a perfect man, so pray for him. No more than you're not perfect either. I'm not perfect. I wish I was, but I tell you what, I am being perfected, and I hope the same for you. So maximize the moment. Understand, in the coming days ahead, more exposure is going to come. It's going to shock the world. I strongly believe that. Stay tuned. I'll see y'all on the next one.